Thanks very much for tuning in to Unmissable. I'm Nabila Jamal right here on News 9. I take you through news from India and across the globe. We start with a very shocking story that's come from my city, Bengaluru. A doctor allegedly has killed his wife, who's also a doctor, using his medical expertise, has overdosed her on anesthesia. We're going to take you through all the chilling details coming to fore on that case. And in Delhi, despite the pollution levels, it seems like the Supreme Court has now turned a bit sensitive to religious sentiments, and considering Diwali is around the corner, permission to burst firecrackers in a staggered manner or certain dedicated hours itself within which firecrackers can be burst 5 days around Diwali. Permission has been given. A lot of debate on what impact it would have on the environment. And finally, Google AI Hub in Andhra Pradesh. We're looking at now a war of words between Andhra ministers and Karnataka ministers. While Karnataka loses out on such a big ticket project, Andhra there bagging it and also nagging at the same time, nagging Karnataka, saying their loss is our gain. A lot more after the headlines. Supreme Court permits bursting of firecrackers, green crackers, that's permitted from October 18 to 21st, restricts timings to 6 to 7 a.m. and 8 to 10 p.m. Only QR code crackers are going to be allowed. Patrol teams to monitor sales of the same. This order comes at a time when Delhi's air quality has plummeted yet again. BJP released its second list of 12 candidates for Bihar Assembly polls. Singer Maithili Thakur to contest from Alinagar, while ex-IPS officer Anand Mishra fielded from Buxar. And of course, right in time, we also hear that Prashant Kishore has decided that he will not be contesting elections, or will only support his team members. So the dynamics now shifting in Bihar right ahead of elections. Nitish Kumar's JDU releases the first candidate list, including constituencies reportedly eyed by ally LJP, Ram Vilas Paswan. In fact, LJP gaining strength after winning all 5 contested Lok Sabha seats, boosting Chirag Paswan's influence within the NDA. But seems like LJP and JDU of Nitish Kumar both right now not looking eye to eye, considering some seats that LJP wanted. Nitish Kumar plans to field his candidates. Maharashtra's motor vehicles aggregator rules of 2025 orders the removal of cabs older than 9 years and buses older than 8 years under new draft policy. Guidelines aim to enhance safety, especially for women, while introducing in-car alarms and a one-stop system for passengers and drivers. Infosys founder N.R. Narayan Murthy and Rajya Sabha MP Sudha Murthy, his wife, declined participation in Karnataka Social and Educational Survey, stating that they do not belong to any backward class and see no relevance or benefit in this exercise. TDP suspends Assistant Engineer K. Sunil Kumar for signing Mazar records that misrepresented gold plates at the Sabrimala temple, misrepresenting gold plates as copper. TDP board seeking explanation from retired officials involved in the handover, urging devotees to avoid conspiracies ahead of President Murmu's Sabrimala visit and Mandala pilgrimage. Telangana's Food Safety Department inspects 43 sweet shops in Hyderabad ahead of Diwali, finds major hygiene violations including flies, unhygienic water, open dustbins and workers without medical records. Authorities warn of strict action against violators. Facing steep US tariffs, India and Brazil aim to triple $12 billion trade, exploring cooperation in agribusiness, biofuels, defense and energy. Analysts say Modi-Lula partnership signals major BRICS trade realignment. After a violent border clash on Afghan-Pakistan border, that's killed 12 Afghan civilians and 8 Pakistani soldiers. Pakistan and Afghanistan have now finally agreed for a temporary 48-hour ceasefire at Pakistan's request, is what Afghanistan says. All right, let me start with our top story here. Quite a chilling story coming in from Bengaluru. A doctor from Bengaluru's reputed Victoria Hospital has been arrested for murdering his wife, who was also a doctor. The police say Dr. Mahendra Reddy, who's a general surgeon, he overdosed his 28-year-old wife, who's a dermatologist, a doctor herself, Dr. Kruthika Reddy. He overdosed her with a powerful anesthetic drug called propofol. And this happened inside their home while he was treating her for gastritis. This is what reports claim. The incident took place nearly 6 months ago. At that time, the man here, alleged killer, Dr. Mahendra, claimed that his wife Kruthika had suddenly fallen ill at her father's residence and she was rushed to Marathalli as well, to, in fact, a hospital nearby where she was staying. She was staying in Marathalli with her father and she was rushed to a nearby Kaveri hospital, and that's where she was brought dead. The death initially seemed very natural, though unnatural death report was filed, but there was no suspicion as such against the husband. But it seems like Kruthika's sister, Dr. Nikita Reddy, she's a radiologist, she suspected something was off and she insisted on a postmortem and a deeper probe. While we hear that the husband here, or the alleged killer, Mahendra, did not want a postmortem, saying that there's no need for a postmortem, it looks like a natural death, and insisted that a complaint not be filed. But nonetheless, Kruthika's family insisted a postmortem be done, and shockingly now, 6 months later, this case has really turned on its head. The Forensic Science Laboratory has found propofol, a restricted anesthetic drug used only in operating theatres, in multiple organs, which means she was administered a lethal dose. During an inspection of the house, the scene of crime officer recovered some key evidence as well, a cannula set, injection tube and other medical items, later sent for forensic analysis. And based on this, Kruthika's father has filed a formal complaint on October 13th, accusing his son-in-law of murder. Acting swiftly, Marathalli police arrested Mahendra from Manipal. We hear allegedly he was trying to flee and he was arrested from Manipal. Investigations now show the murder was meticulously planned. In fact, just 3 days before Kruthika's death, she complained of gastritis and was treated by the husband itself, Mahendra. He had been administering her medicines through IV drips. This is what we hear. As per reports that he was giving her IV drips, giving her medicines through IV drips. And on April 23rd, it's found Kruthika even messaged her husband on WhatsApp asking if she should remove the drip because it was really painful for her. And the husband insisted, asking her not to remove it, and returned to give another dose himself. So a lethal dose that was given to her. What really is the reason behind this murder, the police say has to be investigated. But according to Police Commissioner Seemant Kumar Singh, he says that evidence collected so far clearly points to the husband's role here in the crime. He was one who brought her to the hospital, never mentioned any possible complication. He says that it appears now that she was injected with sedatives. There was malified intention and this needs to be fully investigated. In fact, Kruthika's family believe that this could likely be that the man Mahendra may have had another affair, or it was to do with money. They want the police itself to get to the bottom of this case. We're looking at Kruthika's family at this point devastated, knowing that the son-in-law itself is the murderer. We hear Kruthika was all set to launch her own skin clinic, a skin and scalpel clinic in Marathalli, a dream that's now cut short by someone she trusted the most, her own husband. This case, a doctor killing a doctor, it's really sent shockwaves through the medical fraternity and raising many disturbing questions, one about trust and of course about abuse of medical knowledge for murder. Let's hear it from the police himself.
प्रोपोफोल नामक एक सेडेटिव है जो कि एनेस्थेसिया में यूज़ होता है उसका प्रयोग किया गया है, मीन्स उसकी एविडेंसेस मिल रहे हैं वहाँ पे उनके उसके बॉडी में, तो उस आधार पे हमने उस लेडी के हस्बैंड को गिरफ्तार किया है। जो हस्बैंड है वो भी एक डॉक्टर है, जो डिसीज्ड है वो भी एक डॉक्टर है। इन्हीं सब कारण के चलते इस केस को, जो पहले यूडीआर लिया गया था अननेचुरल डेथ के तहत, लेडी के फादर के कंप्लेंट के बेसिस पे हमने इसको केस को चेंज करके एक मर्डर केस लिया है।
All right, let me quickly bring in our panelists on that. Let's introduce Brinda Adege, who is a social activist, Dr. Ravi Prakash, who is a psychiatrist, Bhaskar Rao, who is a former IPS officer, and Commissioner of Police, Bengaluru himself. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us. Brinda, just your take. You know, we've been seeing so many stories in the recent past on how wives are, the ones turning on their husbands. How, I'm no comparing here, but look at the way this man has pulled off this crime. Suspect is that they do suggest, police suggests that this could be an affair. The family members saying this could be an affair. This could be maybe even the reason being money as well. We're still unclear of this, but just 1 year they were married, just barely a year. So that, the new feeling of marriage, a couple, she was so in love with him. Never did she imagine that he would do something like that. How would you read this case? You've dealt with so many cases. Your take on this.
My first take is a precious life has been taken away, probably because of the greed and the impunity of the husband. To have done something like this, and now because of the sister, the postmortem reports are saying that there was some kind of anesthesia in all her organs. So the first question that anybody would ask is, why would you want something like an anesthesia to treat gastritis? Okay, and that done, the police are looking for motives. And like you mentioned, Nabila, probably dowry. We don't know. We do know that most of these middle class and upper middle class families give huge amounts of dowry in marriages. And yet we find that the husband or the groom's party is never satisfied. But if he was not satisfied and he's not happy and he's having an affair, he could easily have not married, or he could have said, okay, let's break off. But probably for social prestige, other reasons, he did not want to do that.
Yeah.
But taking away the life in such an insidious manner, absolutely appalling. And I think this man must not only be taken away, must be put away in jail for the rest of his life, but his license suspended forever.
This is really shocking. They seem like a very well-placed family. I can't imagine how dowry could be the reason here. If the wife is gone, where's the question of dowry? So what kind of money? Possibly the money that was given to her by the family?
Yes, because he wants to hoard all of it. If she was planning to start a clinic of her own, then there is her own money that she's starting it with. And probably later on, he may not have any say in that clinic. And he can't stop her from starting all of that clinic. And it was her dream. So he just wants to cut short the dream. And he can't talk about
my question here is, Brinda, just speculating. Of course, we can't call this case yet. It's for the police to come down to finding out what the reason is. But do you feel or do you sense a streak of jealousy? Maybe because she was starting her own practice, she was starting her own clinic. Because they were just married. So I don't know, an affair or money could be if that isn't the reason. I can only think of someone being absolutely jealous, a man being absolutely jealous of his woman's success.
I think so too, and I was waiting for you to bring that up. But yes, I think a lot of professional jealousy, where he probably may not be able to start a clinic of his own, or he's probably doing very well wherever he is, but he didn't want his wife to shine differently or separately. He wanted probably have her under his shadow at all times. And when she makes this decision, which probably her own family will be funding it and might have funded it also, and this guy had no say, like I said. Jealousy, professional rivalry, but everything said and done, this guy was in control and she trusted him. And that is the question.
Yeah.
You can't trust your husband And this man is a doctor. So can any other patient trust this man?
You know, to bring in the doctor on the panel here, Dr. Ravi Prakash, on both levels, I'd like to ask you, first of all, propofol, which is an anesthetic drug, could it be that Mahindra thought there's a way to treat gastritis with this? Maybe her pain will ease if he gives a certain amount of anesthesia. Probably he was not a good enough doctor to realize that lethal doses could kill her. Do you sense any angle of innocence here on the husband?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to believe what you're implying, at least, that he wanted to treat gastritis with a restricted molecule like propofol. First of all, it is illegal to use propofol just like that. It's highly restricted. Was there any prescription? What was the basis of him using propofol just like that? And even if he wanted to, suppose, ease the pain, intravenous administration of propofol without proper, whenever an anesthesia is done, it is not just given IV just like that. There is a monitoring process. Your respiratory rate, your cardiac rate, your the implied cause of death is respiratory depression here. So was the respiration being monitored? Was SpO2 being monitored properly? If not, then how is it any medical intervention at all? It's impossible to believe that a person just administered propofol with good intention without monitoring the cardiac and lungs activity, respiratory activity. According to me, it's very difficult to believe that. Okay, so that is the answer to your question. The dose, more or less, that is all secondary issue to be thought of. First thing is that why propofol was administered. Gastritis, you can administer all that Rantac and all those IV injections for gastritis, but propofol is the questionable. According to me, it does not look like.
It was not innocent.
See, innocence and all that is for police to find out. I would say that it is definitely not for the purpose which is being cited here as the purpose.
And she's also a doctor. That's also raises a lot of questions on how come she was completely oblivious to this. She's being treated of gastritis through IV drips. I don't know, something's just not sitting well. Either he's weaved a story to her. She's a dermatologist, therefore she's not able to understand possibly. There are two different streams of expertise. So maybe she fully trusted and had faith. But despite being a doctor, not being aware at all as to what's being given to you?
Most probably she was not aware. That is what I can say. Any person being aware of propofol being administered, an anesthesia which is used for surgical processes, I don't think anyone will agree to that so easily. Most probably she did not know that it was propofol.
So through IV, you're saying it can be injected into the IV drips? It can be mixed with the IV drips? With the medicine?
That is the question of whether medicine was there or not, or was it purely propofol. With all the information that we have now, all we can say that propofol was found in the body in FSL investigations. And it was found in body, so it was administered. And it was being repeatedly said that through IV cannula it has been administered. Now, was there any additional medication? It's very difficult to answer all those questions now. But propofol as an individual agent being administered is definitely out of context. It's very difficult to accept that it was being administered for gastritis treatment.
It's shocking here. If I could bring in Bhaskar Rao, who's also former police commissioner of Bengaluru. Mr. Rao, how did this case slip for 6 months as natural death? I mean, there was no suspicion raised. A healthy young 28-year-old lady who's a doctor herself is rushed to the hospital and then she dies suddenly. And then there was a case of unnatural death filed, but it took 6 months for the police to even crack into this. How? I mean, I would ask so many questions. Of course, the family of the girl has asked questions, but does it take 6 months for police to really uncover this? What do you think here? What do you suspect?
See, definitely the murder most foul, as what we've seen. that a murder has been committed by someone whom you trust so much. Our own husband has committed over there. That is what we see through the preliminary reports about the administration of the anesthetic drug there. We have come across a number of cases where within the first year of marriage itself, the marriage has fallen apart for different reasons, and spouses have either partnered with somebody else to get rid of their legally wedded partner over there. In this case, what we have seen is that in the preliminary round itself, in the preliminary investigation itself, the doctor husband has administered a chemical which was not meant for treating this particular disease. It was thanks to the sister-in-law's intervention that postmortem was sought for. Otherwise, it was told that he was all along saying that the postmortem itself should not be carried out. And we have come across a number of cases where spouses have killed each other, and there may be acrimony, anger, maladjustment, etc. But killing is not the answer. So many of them are in prison in Parapanagrara jail. Either husband has killed or wife has killed. But that is definitely not a solution. Only legal separation is a solution over there. But they don't seem to understand.
But you know, a woman, a wife's dying in the first year of marriage should ideally be treated as suspicious in just from the word go.
That as per the law, if after a marriage, if a wife dies in less than 7 years within 7 years of the marriage, there is a magisterial inquiry. I'm surprised how it did not take place at all over there. Even if she has, this is a mandatory thing which takes place in all the villages also. Why it did not take place in the city is something very, very puzzling over there. We have seen immediately within up to 7 years of marriage, if a woman dies, a magistrate has to conduct the inquest, not the police. Probably, I don't know whether such a thing happened or not, but definitely the forensic science has brought the truth out. And again, here in investigation, the investigation officer has to take the permission of the medical board. Only then conviction is going to take place here. All kinds of demands will be made to see that he was trying to administer medicine, it was a medical treatment, etc. So the investigation has to be so professional that it should look as if it was a murder, not treatment. He will continue to say it was treatment, but it is what has happened is a murder. So the two need to be separated with proper systematic investigation. That's all.
A doctor using his expertise to pull off this murder, you know, I can't imagine that it happens. It happened so easily. This man got away so easily for 6 months, and educated family. You know, they look very well educated, well placed. So it also can happen. Yeah,
it's a huge loss to lose a doctor on whom so much of money has been spent.
Yeah,
for the purpose of society.
Brinda, educated family.
Well, I wouldn't want to say that they are educated family. I would like to say they were academically qualified probably, because if you're educated, I don't think any of them would do something like that. They would be much more confident about themselves to say, okay, the marriage didn't work and we will part. But that apart, what Mr. Bhaskar was talking about is the permissions that you need to get from the medical council or whoever they are before before the court can convict him. So a lot of it also depends. Will there be doctors courageous and brave enough to come forward and speak the truth and stand by it? Because it is that courage of convictions. Now when we are talking about when the forensic evidence comes out over there, for the council to say, yes, this is what was done. Because the impunity with which this man has done something like this is probably people have got away in the past, because very rarely have we found doctors who have been convicted in our country, even though a lot of evidence points towards them.
Do you believe that's the reason? Do you believe that's the reason to why the police hesitated in pursuing this case of murder right from the start? Because they're doctors, reputed family, well educated. One can't even imagine that a murder can take place in a house like that.
Yeah, that is one thing, because the police always will, place the blame or the find fault with the woman. It is there. Mr. Bhaskar said that there are many people sitting in jail. The largest number of them, 85% plus, are only men who have killed their wives or their partners. somewhere along the line, for whatever reason, you might find 10-15% who are women. So critical mass is very important for us to understand. But that said, police don't take cases of women dying so seriously as much as they might take men dying. And in this case, it is, a doctor coming and telling you, a medical emergency, something happened, and so she died, without taking
and
into
why would you doubt, right?
Law. 7 years. Within 7 years, it is a serious offence, and so the magistrate inquest has to happen. How the police, let it off, something like that, just shows the shoddy investigation or the FIR that was registered.
Mr. Rao?
Most cases I've seen, they're highly educated people who kill their spouses over there. It is not the very, very poor quality. Poor quality life people, they get into an argument, get drunk over there, fight, etc. But especially in a city like Bangalore, I have seen number of cases where young couples, because they're not able to adjust in a family, they've ended up killing each other over there. Then finally they get acquitted, as Brinda says, on some flimsy grounds. The report would be incomplete, benefit of doubt would be given. Then they would say that it was sudden and grave provocation. So all these things, Brinda, it is not fair to say only women, but men's murder also sometimes does not get. So it happens. It depends upon the seriousness of the case at that point of time, how much case the media how much attention the media has attracted in this case over there. Definitely today, the police commissioner held a press conference and he came out with startling facts over there. Let all these angles be examined, but we have to only see that proper conviction takes place, because an young life has been lost, national waste has occurred.
My question here is to Dr. Ravi Prakash. Do you think Mahindra, the accused, murder accused here, may have been desensitized with all that exposure he's had as a general surgeon? He has access, he sees deaths, he sees anesthesia. So clearly there's no moral ground for him. Do you believe that happens within the doctor fraternity? I'm not too sure. I could just be mixing my words, but you get my point.
I'm getting your point, but it would be just an overgeneralization. See, Indian doctors are very, very humanitarian people. Okay, most of them. 1-2 cases here and there when we get like that. And let me tell you, it's not about the profession per se. Although people would want to think that doctors, surgeons, they will have this tendency to, get desensitized by someone's death. But that is different. That is called isolation, where you have to look at a patient very objectively so that you don't miss even a small finding in the operation theater. You have to get rid of the emotional component there, only in that part. But before that and after that, there is, no doubt that the doctor's professions right now are the most humanitarian people that exist now. Coming to why it happened, see, there are only 3 variables. All the variables combined together. In my last interview also with TV9, I told that there are 3 variables. When they combine together, people can go to any extent to, harm someone. One is the intention to harm. Intention to end the relationship in marriage, in this particular thing. In other cases, it would be intention to harm someone. But here it is to end a particular relationship, not to maybe just end someone's life. To a relationship, that is the first reason. Second is the personality of the person. Personality means the traits that a person has. He may have antisocial personality, he may have narcissistic personality, and that is sprinkled everywhere. It's not only in medical profession. Everywhere. There will be antisocial people, there will be, not people, I would say, mostly it is like antisocial traits that a person has. And when these 2 things combine with the sources that a person can have, then it becomes the inevitable, where the person can end up doing something like this. So the personality of the individual, the resource that a person has, and the intention. Now, intention can come because of many reasons. You are unhappy with the marriage, you have financial gain out of it, you have primary gain, secondary gain, tertiary gain. There may be n number of reasons for the intention. But no one will be so easily, motivated to take such an action.
Yeah.
For that,
so clearly he was overconfident with his medical expertise, thought he'll get away so easily, right? That's
I would not say overconfident. I would say it was a very planned murder, if it was a murder. I mean, it was still sub judice. So there are two kinds of aggressions which people have to understand. One is impulsive aggression, which is reactive and secondary to a provocation. Second is instrumental aggression, which is planned. Instrumental aggressions are done by people who have very, very steady mindset in executing that aggression. I'm talking about only that part where the action of aggression is being executed. In that, they are very steady, very stable, and they go on with very calculative measures. And when such a thing happens, the outcome is mostly in favor of what they want. Impulsive aggressions, most of the time, they fail. As Sir was saying, after taking alcohol intoxication, after getting angry over something, you end up becoming physically violent, but they mostly, end up in not so severe harmful consequences. But when it is an instrumental aggression, the outcome is something like this. And here it looks like that because there was a planning. Multiple times he has administered.
Yeah.
It cannot be just one, instance where he administered and there was nothing, no outcome. So he just left it like that. So it was a multiple administration. So it looks like, something was cooking up in his mind for some time. And there's one more thing to be understood, that it was only a 6 to 8 months of marriage.
Yeah.
And most of the marriages will know, the partners will know whether this marriage is going to survive or not within first 1 year. And this was the time where most probably he was not able to adjust. It's very, we can have theories and hypotheses all the way.
But from the looks of it, clearly the lady was very happy with her new clinic being opened up. She was just working towards opening up her own practice. So she had a focus or a goal.
I would not be so sure about it. See, happiness is a very subjective experience. Looking happy and being happy are two different things. And this is what I tell to most of my doctor colleagues also. You get married just because your partner is a doctor. The person is good looking, he has a social status, but is there a compatibility or not? That is most important thing to be understood in long term, timeline. So the person may be happy at some level, but I would not agree that this was a very happy marriage. If really the outcome was this, killing of the spouse. And as per the news, if you look at the other news, some of them have been telling that there have been fights also. This is what I wrote in my book also, that the most clear red flags will be missed by people in marriage. Because marriage is a grand celebration in India. It is not just going and taking someone's hand in your hand and looking at the moon and singing songs. It's a grand celebration.
But I'm just saying that it's so new. Ideally, this is the honeymoon phase. In this period, if he's planned to kill her, what could really be the motive? We're really hoping for the police to get to the bottom of it and find out the motive. We're really keen on knowing. It's a tragic loss. A doctor who was killed by her own husband.
The common motives which have been found in researches, if you can give me some time, the commonest motives will be something like infidelity, financial gain out of it, or the intense anger being built up over the course of time, or familial interferences. These are the 4-5 common motives which also researchers.
Right. And just to add to this,
these are the common
right,
motives.
Sir. I'm a little short on time. As I end here, I will say that the man Mahendra's family, like in his own brother, we hear already had a case of cheating against him. So it seems like the family had some kind of criminal record. So going ahead with murder, he did not hesitate. Must be running in the DNA of the family, considering that there's, I'm sorry to say this, but this is a fact, Brinda, I know. It may sound wrong, but the fact is that both his brothers have been booked under case of cheating and threat and whatnot. So, and that case was ongoing. And we hear the family kept those details away from Kruthika's family as well. So, it seems like there's a lot going on within the family of Mahendra, Dr. Mahendra, but hope the police gets to the bottom of this. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us on that, and Mr. Bhaskar Rao. All right, a quick break. We'll be right back on Delhi allowing firecrackers around Diwali while air pollution has now peaked yet again. Details on the other side.
In association with Can't Do Without Servo 40 Extra from Indian Oil.
नई गाड़ी लेनी पड़ेगी
हमें भी।
शोरूम खोला जल्दी।
हम तक महंगा इंश्योरेंस बेचने की पूरी कोशिश हो सकती है, जबरदस्ती।
कौन करेगा जबरदस्ती? खोड़ दूंगा इधर मैं।
लैक्स कम लाकर नई गाड़ी के लिए हम एको कार इंश्योरेंस ही लेंगे।
फेयर प्राइस, कम प्रीमियम।
बात खत्म।
अरे सर बात खत्म।
कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
You can take a left, you can take a right. Enemies also on a little time. If you really feel it, say it out right. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe now.
Java 42, the answer.
You have taken up the baton from an Indian business family despite being a girl.
I love my work. I love it because I'm passionate about it. I was never forced into getting into the business.
You started bringing in technology in a field which was not very common.
Whatever I've learned to do, I've always given my best. I don't believe in giving second best.
You have gone around the world to sell your products. So Make in India or Made in India ethos you've exhibited much before India woke up to the fact that they need to be self-sufficient.
The responsibility of 4,000 associates and a brand which was built from nothing, from a small Made in India brand to a global brand today. So there's an emotional intent.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा के संग त्योहार की उमंग।
Welcome back. Let me take you through details on firecrackers being allowed in Delhi during Diwali. With winter now just about starting, Delhi's air quality has dropped to poor category after 3 months. And GRAP 1 is now enforced in Delhi. This set of short-term emergency measures triggered to reduce air pollution happens every winter when air pollution spikes in Delhi-NCR region due to lower wind speeds, dropping temperatures, stubble burning, most importantly, and vehicular emissions. Of course, firecrackers contributing to it as well. Now, Delhi firecrackers, it's really in the real grain of Diwali is firecrackers. And Delhi residents really want to be bursting firecrackers but are unable to because of the quality of air, and it was banned by the Supreme Court so long. But it seems like now the Supreme Court has turned a little sensitive to those wanting to celebrate Diwali, has allowed the sale and bursting of certified green crackers, firecrackers, between October 18th and October 21st. That's 5 days around Diwali in the Delhi-NCR region for upcoming Diwali celebrations. They've also given specific time restrictions as well, which is fireworks can be burst only between 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on these days. To ensure compliance, only QR-coded green crackers approved by the CSIR NEERI will be permitted. These crackers are designed to emit fewer pollutants compared to traditional firecrackers. However, the court has emphasized that crackers containing harmful chemicals like barium and those smuggled from outside the NCR region are strictly prohibited. The court has also directed the central and state pollution control boards to monitor air quality levels from October 14th to October 25th and submit reports as well. Special patrolling teams will also be deployed to ensure adherence to the guidelines. These green firecrackers are meant to cut particulate and gas emissions by up to 30 to 40% and keep noise levels under 120 decibels. But this has once again sparked a decade-long debate over balancing festive tradition, public health and livelihood. We know that Delhi's air pollution is so bad. You have wheezing problems, you have breathing issues, you have people really struggling in the Delhi-NCR region, and situation was worse in the last few years. It settled during COVID and then spiraled after COVID. The idea of green crackers now that emerged first in 2015, Supreme Court at that point had said it was helpful, and then this came down to decide that it's not. and therefore banned firecrackers altogether until Delhi's air was settled. But now it seems like the court has come back to decide that firecrackers, green firecrackers, could be allowed for a brief period. So, is it really? Is this really the only way forward? The question most environmentalists are currently asking now is, how do you establish that cracker is really green cracker? If someone's bursting firecracker around you, do we even know if it's green firecracker or not? Well, let me bring in our panelists on board for a little more on Delhi's air quality, pollution levels and green firecrackers. How does this all go hand in hand? Shambhavi Shukla, Deputy Program Manager, Clean Air and Sustainable Mobility Program, CSC. We also have Divan Singh, who's an environmentalist. A quick word from Shambhavi. Shambhavi, your take on green firecrackers. I'm not too sure if people can even distinguish between green firecrackers and not green firecrackers. In fact, when the Supreme Court restriction was on, the last year I still remember, firecrackers were just raging all over Delhi. There's no regard for a Supreme Court ban. Now the Supreme Court allows green firecrackers, so now I'm expecting brazen firecrackers to be burst across Delhi-NCR region and not even green firecrackers. So what kind of patrolling and how will police be able to distinguish what's green, what's not?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, see, already there were several bans that has happened on crackers per se, but then naming green crackers, like, we are also not sure how much reduction in pollution it would cause. And also, like, it also depends on the amount, like the load that is being added to Delhi's air. So we know that this is like a regular problem that Delhi faces every year, that we have been seeing from continuously past 10 to 12 years now. And we know that especially during October, we have several other sources along with, of course, crackers that add to the pollution load to the city. So right now, the current condition, if we see that there is unfavorable meteorological conditions that's present, so with a lower wind speed and a dip in a temperature and a lower mixing height, there is less space for pollutants to disperse. And at the same time, like since it's a festival time, there is a lot of traffic congestion that is happening. And the major source among the local sources that we see right now is vehicles, because like in Delhi, especially if you see that all the roads are jammed right now. So like the one thing that should actually happen and like the moving forward that we should think of is reducing pollution from a source which is actually a year-round problem. And if we work on the source, then only the pollution level of Delhi would actually go down and all.
Maybe the environmentalist will be able to tell us. Green firecrackers is burst all over the country, Mr. Divan Singh. Do you believe that that's going to help in keeping pollution levels low? And at a time when the pollution level is poor, will this add to the menace?
See, looking at this initiative, it's not a bad thing to start. Because many strong steps have not been taken till now. So at least a step has been taken to ensure that instead of conventional crackers, they're going ahead with the safe green crackers, and people will get a kind of sensitivity when they are forced to purchase green crackers and then burst them and see that the fun is not that much as they had in the conventional crackers. People will feel a small pinch and also feel responsibility that yes, it's being done to curtail the pollution. So that's a positive step in a sense. Now, as far as the effect is concerned, as the panelists before me have said and your headlines are saying, that it has 30 to 40% less emission in comparison to conventional crackers. Or there are many studies, there are lack of studies that really confirm that it doesn't emit hazardous fumes. So one can't be sure how safe it is, but then let's say 30 to 40% less emissions will be there, the particulate matter. So in that sense, it's not a bad initiative, but as panelists before me said, we need to work on all other sources of pollution. And this pollution generation is happening in the city all year round. and we are only waking up in the month of October, November, December, when it start pinching us, start hitting us, because the air is slow, it's getting heavier, the pollution is not able to disperse. So what worries me is that we are not bothered about generation of pollution so much as we are bothered about dispersal of pollution. Had we really been bothered about generation of pollution, we would have worked on measures like GRAP year round. So these are the factors that should count.
So you're saying less from firecrackers, more to do with other external factors,
yes, firecrackers has to creates its effect only for a few days.
But what effect does it have? Few days of firecrackers is good enough to make a person's health condition worse.
Yes, that's true. Even these few days can make the condition worse, no doubt. And so that's why I said it's a positive step in a sense. And it's much needed. And it creates awareness, raises sensitivity among people that yes, something is... When some action is being taken, then only people start internalizing the subject.
Yeah.
Subject
you know, what I believe
Otherwise,
here, Shambhavi, is that people are anyway bursting firecrackers now, might as well make it legal for a few hours. That's, I think, almost the pressure it's come down to.
Yeah. Can you please repeat?
No, I was asking Shambhavi. While you have Shambhavi, people anyway bursting firecrackers. Like I said, all across Delhi, at least near my house, I heard extensive firecrackers being burst while there was a Supreme Court ban. So now it's almost come down to, and I know that there was a lot of criticism as well on how firecrackers is not the biggest contributor to pollution. So why are you taking away people's livelihood, etc., etc. So now I think it's almost out of pressure that, you know, there's a judgment that's come in saying, you know, you can burst for a few hours, because anyway people are bursting illegally, might as well make this legal and let them enjoy for the few days of Diwali.
So you have rightly said that even when the ban was present, but then still people were burning crackers. So of course, if they're making it legal and like they're burning it, but then the important step right now is to have fully enforced like what is being burnt on the like road and during Diwali. So if that happens and there is complete policing and monitoring happens of whatever green crackers is being sold and being burnt, so then that would be a biggest challenge that the government should achieve actually this time, if they are allowing to burn the green crackers.
All right, Devan Singh and Shambhavi, thank you very much. Appreciate your time on that. Thank you. All right, a quick look at all the top stories on day tonight. Let's start with Andhra Pradesh winning a big ticket project. Fierce political war has broken out between Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka over Google signing a massive deal with Andhra government to set up an AI hub in Visakhapatnam in partnership with the Adanis, a project reportedly worth 1.3 lakh crores. The Andhra government says the mega hub will generate up to 30,000 jobs, boost annual revenue by 10,000 crores. But in neighbouring Karnataka, the development has sparked outrage among opposition leaders, BJP there, accusing Karnataka-led state government, Congress-led state government, of letting a historic investment slip away. Andhra IT minister as well. In fact, Andhra IT minister Nara Lokesh hit back at some of the critiques in Karnataka, saying, if they are inefficient, what can I do? Their own industrialists say infrastructure is bad. There are power cuts there, therefore Google has chosen us. Here's what Nara said to add salt to the wound.
So I keep saying in double engine Sarkar, you know, there are quite a few in the country, but there's only one double engine bullet train Sarkar, and that is in Andhra Pradesh. So with a lot of clarity, thought we are competing with other states. If they are inefficient, what can I do? If their own industrialists are saying that the infrastructure is bad, there's severe power cuts, and they themselves are saying that, then they should first focus on attending to those problems rather than taking on me on Twitter.
All right, well, you have in Karnataka, largely criticism coming in from the JDS and the BJP circles, targeting Karnataka's handling on infrastructure and investor confidence, accusing IT Minister Priyank Kharge and Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar of negligence that's driven investors away. So this is what the BJP-JDS alliance partners have pointed at on the Congress government, saying it's your fault that big projects are not coming to Bengaluru, to which Priyank Kharge, minister, has dismissed these claims, saying Google never even approached Karnataka for talks. He's blamed massive central incentives, 22,000 crores in subsidies, land rebates and tax breaks that Andhra has given, which is why Google has gone there. But if we offered that, then they'd call us bankrupt. This is Priyank Kharge's response to that.
Today, Google AI is gone to Vizag is the headline. What they will not tell you is that they are giving 22,000 crores incentives. What they will not tell you is the land is being given at 25% discount. Water tariff is at 25% discount. Transmission is 100% free. And state GST, 100% reimbursement is going to be given. Now, if I do that, what will you tell me? You are draining you are appeasing, you are draining the financial status of the thing. Ask them, is this true or not?
All right. So while Andhra Pradesh is celebrating landing of one of India's biggest AI investments, Karnataka insists it has not lost ground, claiming the Google AI ecosystem remains deeply rooted in Bengaluru as well. Well, but political battle there continues. Both states now racing to prove who truly deserves to be India's tech crown. Now, in Tamil Nadu, tensions boil over in Tamil Nadu Assembly today as Karur Stampede tragedy once again echoes and takes centre stage in the Assembly. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister CM Stalin did not hold back, taking aim squarely at actor Vijay and his party TVK, blaming them for scheduling chaos that led to deadly stampede, claiming 41 lives. Stalin in the Assembly today said it was Vijay coming late being the real reason why the stampede happened. The Chief Minister says police were prepared for 5 hours. In fact, they sought permission for 5-hour event, and police was fully prepared and stationed there. Starting at 3 p.m, the event was supposed to take off, but the party suddenly revised the schedule, saying Vijay would arrive only by noon. Ultimately, he arrived 7 hours late, triggering a massive surge of people by then that even stalled his bus, which is a key factor. Stalin says behind the tragic crowd crush was Vijay coming late, squarely blaming Vijay and his timing for the stampede.
7 மணி நேரம் கழித்துதான் வந்தார். இந்த காலதாமதம் கூட்ட நெரிசலுக்கு முக்கிய காரணமாக அமைந்தது.
Meanwhile, you have the opposition leader Edappadi Palaniswamy there firing back, questioning the DMK and his handling of Karur stampede victims. The postmortem particularly, he demanded to know how 39 postmortems of the people who died were completed in just 8 hours, raising serious questions about the procedure. The allegations are that postmortems were done of that many people on 2 tables. In response, Stalin dismissed EPS's allegations as baseless. Health Minister M.A. Subramaniam outlined the government's swift action. 1,704 medical personnel, including 813 from hospitals in Madurai, Salem and Namakkal, were on duty, he said, explaining that postmortems followed the rules, conducted 3 at a time and were approved by the district collector to manage the urgent situation. The confrontation, of course, escalated further as AIADMK MLA staged a walkout, leaving the assembly in uproar. All right, cutting across to the hijab controversy in Kerala. Classes have resumed at the St. Rita's Public School in Kochi today after a 2-day closure following a controversy over a Muslim student's right to wear the hijab. The school reopened under tight police security, though the Class 8 student at the center of this dispute here was absent, reportedly for health reasons. Now, the controversy began when the school allegedly denied the student to enter the premises wearing her hijab, prompting backlash from her parents and some members of the public and the SDPI, which is a Muslim outfit, political outfit in Kerala. So, the letter from the school's principal, Sister Halina Albi, circulated on social media, cited that pressure from the student and her parents had caused mental distress among other students and staff, forcing the school to declare a holiday and saying that there's a dress code in school and that students must follow it. The Kerala Education Minister, V. Sivankutti, had to intervene finally, directing the school to allow the student to continue wearing the hijab to pursue her education. The minister emphasized that constitutional rights are given to individuals, and if they want to wear the hijab, they should be allowed to, including religious freedom must be upheld. This is what Education Minister said.
ഇതിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചത് അന്വേഷിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി എറണാകുളം ഡെപ്യൂട്ടി ഡയറക്ടറെ ചുമതലപ്പെടുത്തി ഡെപ്യൂട്ടി ഡയറക്ടറുടെ റിപ്പോർട്ട് സ്കൂൾ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ഗുരുതരമായ പിശക് കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിർദ്ദേശം വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഒന്ന്, കുട്ടിയുടെ അവകാശത്തെ നിഷേധിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി പാടില്ല. രണ്ട്, യൂണിഫോമിന് ഒത്ത തട്ടം, തലയിൽ വയ്ക്കുന്ന തട്ടം, അത് അവർ.
Well, meanwhile, the Parent-Teacher Association president stated that no formal government order has been received yet, highlighting a lack of clarity regarding rules in CBSE-affiliated schools. The issue has also drawn criticism from the BJP, which questioned the state government's stance, intensifying this political debate over balance between school regulations and students' religious rights. Now, we also hear that the family finally has decided to agree to the school's dress code and not wear the hijab, but the girl has not yet come back to school, is what we hear. So, right ahead of Kerala elections, we're looking at this exploding. Now, quick look in a tragic case. 20 people were burnt alive in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. Several others injured when a bus travelling from Jaisalmer to Jodhpur caught fire. The bus was carrying 57 passengers. It left Jaisalmer around 3 p.m. and we hear short circuit was the reason, and that's what's tragic is that people were stuck and stranded inside the bus for hours. They couldn't leave. They couldn't break open the door. In fact, this bus that had permission to roll out into a sleeper coach just a few days ago itself did not do it scientifically. The bus itself converted, a normal bus, AC bus, was converted into a sleeper coach, and because of all the glasses on the sides, the bus caught fire so quickly and people were fully stranded inside the bus and lost their lives. The Prime Minister and the government has given ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees for the next of kin and 50,000 to the injured. But of course, many questions being raised on the permissions given to that bus to turn into a AC sleeper coach while it was a normal AC run bus. How was it given permission? People were stranded and stuck inside that bus there. They were asleep and a short circuit led to the fire. There's also probe into whether a firecracker may have led to the fire there. Investigation continues. All right, on that note, we wrap this bulletin right here. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great night.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा के संग त्योहार की उमंग.
Alakazam face disappear. Mom, Dad.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache